You should obviously back on the main card of a big pay-per-view event. It's been a couple years since you've been in that position. I know you've been doing this a long time, but does it still feel like a big moment when you're in a position like this?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest fight to date for me in a while. Excited. I really want that top 5 spot, and I'm going to get it this weekend.
You had some setbacks along the way, right? But now on this impressive streak and looking as good as ever. Is there one thing that you can tie it to? Is it a series of things? What's been the key to this successful run that you're on?
Honestly, self-confidence. I got with a great sports psychologist, and he's been helping me. So shout out to you, Frazier. Really, the belief in myself and my ability.
Is that kind of an underappreciated aspect of the game? I feel like a lot of times people get into that later in their career and they realize, dang, I wish I would have been doing this all along.
Yeah, for sure. For me, mental health is a big thing. I came open with my mental health a few years ago. It's been a struggle. It still is a struggle, but within the fight game, the self-confidence is just higher and higher.
Talk about the preparation here with Mackenzie. Obviously we know what she's great at, right? So, is the preparation like, hey, let's just stay away from her grappling completely? Or is it more like, let's do as much jiu-jitsu as we can because we've got to be ready in case it goes to that place?
The preparation's the same as always. Improving in every arena. I'm very confident in my jiu-jitsu, very confident in my grappling, very confident in my striking. No different than any other fight. Obviously, I'm aware that she wants to go to the ground, and obviously I would like to keep it striking. But there's a lot of things she has to get through to get me on the ground.
Do you watch a lot of tape? And I just wonder if you've been surprised, like in watching her fights, like how willing it seems people are to grapple with her sometimes when it just seems like kind of a mistake.
I don't know if they're necessarily willing. I just think they don't do the right things to stay away from it at times. She's not the best wrestler. Her wrestling is okay. But yeah, I think my game plan and just my style in general is a bad matchup for her.
Win here, as you said, top 5. Are you letting yourself think I would think like the next fight could be maybe a number 1 contender fight, depending on how things shake out. We know that there's a couple title fights maybe lined up, but are you letting yourself think that far that maybe the next fight could be a number 1 contender fight?
For sure. A win over Mackenzie, I think definitely the next fight would be a number 1 contender spot.
Last thing for me, I guess, knowing that, what type of fight do you need to have here? Do you need to go get a finish and put some kind of exclamation point on it, or is it just enough to beat somebody as respected as Mackenzie is?
I think beating her is enough to get a contender shot. But if I was to go out there and, get a decisive win where I knock her out, I submit her, especially if I submitted her, I would definitely be vying for that title shot my next fight.
T-shirt right over here. I saw that between fights, you took part in a fitness competition on the stage and the flexing of the muscles and all that. What was that experience like? Not just the competition itself, but the road to getting there.
Yeah, the NPC show I did last November was exciting. It was funner than I thought it would be. The dieting was way different than what I have to do for fighting. I normally just come to fight week at my weight and then make weight. But for that, it was an aesthetic thing. It wasn't a weight thing. So I was eating very minimal calories. It's definitely not something healthy to do. But in terms of a competition, it was very, very exciting. The women were very nice. A lot of them, it was their first time as well. And just getting up there in heels, walking on stage, that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing.
You talked about mental health and how seeing a sports psychologist has helped you with your confidence. What did that experience, did that help you in terms of your confidence and also checking off an item off the bucket list as well?
Definitely checking off an item off the bucket list. Would I do it again during my career? No. It made my body weight fluctuate in a way that it had never done before, so I didn't like that part. And in terms of helping me in my fight career, no, it was just something fun to do, get myself out there. And I've always been told my entire life that I should try to do one of these competitions.
And then last thing for me, you've been a fighter that has dealt with the proverbial roller coaster the sport has to offer, the highs, the lows. What has been the biggest learning lesson that you've experienced through all of this? The downs, the ups, all the different highs and lows physically and mentally the sport can bring you. What's been the biggest learning lesson along the way?
The biggest learning lesson on the way is just to enjoy the journey. Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, I didn't enjoy it enough. So even if I win, lose, I want to remember every moment of it because this is only a short period of my life and I want to be able to share that with my kids in good memory. So yeah, and just having more self-confidence as the years go through. I'm getting older and just realizing the way that I've paved the sport for the younger generations coming, past me or after me, I guess. But yeah, just enjoying in the moments.
Keisha over here to your right. What kind of boost did Raquel getting added to this card just a couple weeks ago give you in terms of your training, just your motivation, everything going into this week?
That I really definitely now want to win and need to win. It was nice fighting the last time we fought during COVID together. We both had really great wins, so I plan on doing that this weekend again.
Yeah, what's kind of like the fight night process there? Do you kind of avoid watching her fight? It's pretty close together too, and just like focus on yourself, and then you guys reflect after.
Yeah, definitely focus on myself. The last fight I was able to fight first, so I actually prefer that just so I can get my stuff done. And then I go and just cheer her on. So this one, she's before me. It's a little bit different, and she is, I think, only like 2 fights before me. So I'll watch it. Whatever happens, happens. And then I'm in my mind space. I've already, spoke to my coaches about it.
What do you do during fight week when you get here? Is it's a cram-packed schedule? Do you get a chance to go out and sightsee, visit the towns that you're fighting in, take in the area? What's a typical fight week look like to you?
Well, typically I get here by like the afternoon time, but the flights from Denver to Florida were horrible. I didn't get in until 11 o'clock. So by the time I got in bed, it was midnight. But if there's a mall, I like to go shopping. I don't do really much sightseeing, unfortunately. And this week I do have a lot of media, so I don't know if I'm going to get to the mall. But I do plan on hitting the hot tub, in about an hour. So that'll be fun.
Have you spent time in Florida before?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in Broward County.
You should write. I saw you at the airport, and fans, they flocked you immediately. I think when they got off the airport. Do you relish that, or do you just get out of my face right now? I just got off the airplane, because you hear a lot of professional wrestlers that say don't lurk at the airport. Do you appreciate the fans waiting at the airport?
I most definitely appreciate the fans waiting at the airport. It was nice to see, and it's just humbling. Like I said, enjoy the moment. I need to enjoy this now. Like recently, I was telling my coaches, I need to do more of the interviews that I'm asked to do, because, in 3 years, I'm not going to be asked to do as many interviews, or maybe I won't be asked to do any. So I need to enjoy the moment now. We good?
Just one real quick one.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What do you make of the upcoming title defense between Rose Namajunas? She's defending her belt against Carla Esparza. What do you make of that fight? And do you think do you have a winner on that matchup?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Team Rose all the way on that one. I think Rose is going to dominate the fight. The first fight they fought, they're both, young in their career, young athletes. But Rose is a different animal. I don't think that Carla is going to be able to impose her will in the way that she did before.
Do you feel like you're almost like a dark horse in the division, because there's all these contenders and there's a long line but you seem to be on a really good streak, and I mean, if you put 4 wins together, I mean, you have to be in the conversation now, right?
Yeah, for a while when I first got in the UFC, I was talked about as I was in the top 5 for a while. Then I went down a little bit, and now I'm up on the hill again. So maybe now I am the dark horse. I definitely think a win over Mackenzie is going to get me talked about this weekend. Saturday night, I'm going to be spoken about in the greatest way.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, guys.